Thank you, Marty. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hersh and myself. Dial us up on the World Wide Web at www.ntnm.org, where over 50,000 shows have been watched. On ntnm.org, you'll get the direct link to YouTube, where you can see any shows that we've been running over the last couple of years. All the recent election shows. You get more information about judges and politicians. And the way we do the show, obviously, we don't do the 90-second soundbite or 30-second or 10-second soundbite. We try to talk to people in depth and give you an opportunity to really meet them and get a chance to know who they are. And community policing is also very big here. Sonny Hersh, who's behind the camera and the audio and everything else, is the chairman of the 24th District Advisory Committee. And he's running a website known as caps24.org, where you can get all the CAPS meetings for the 24th District, which is basically West Rogers Park, and a little bit of Edgewater. Throughout the rest of the city, just dial up 311. It is a pleasure to have, actually, the person who's averaging the most watches for an individual guest that we've had on. His first two shows, he's averaging over 500 watches, and they're still climbing. You can still watch them. We're talking about the Sheriff of Cook County, Tom Dart.
Thanks.
How are you?
Yeah, good.
First of all, thank you for coming, and we want to thank Brian Town for bringing you, and we want to thank the ladies. And
yes, we give you a shout out here, ladies, and Brian.
Okay,
thanks for coming.
What are their names? We always like to give everybody
Brian, Joellen, and Jane.
Joellen and Jane. Okay, Brian, I know.
I think they're regulars here. I think I've seen Brian in your living room before.
Brian has definitely been here at least 2 or 3 times, at least twice before, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I think he has become a true regular of this show.
No, it's good. He even caught the mystery phone caller who pretended to be somebody on our live show.
Yeah, I know. And I'm starting to do a voice analysis. We're going to catch up whoever that person was.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. We do have our suspicions, because we do have some neighborhood nuts that...
oh, my God. I bet you do.
You know, given the internet these days, I think it's really bringing out the kookiness of people.
Well, you know, you've become somewhat legendary on the YouTube now with all these hits that you get on your show and stuff. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I like it. No, it's very cool. And,
yeah, I mean, it's amazing. When you told me the numbers of the people that hit on that part of it, I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I never expected that.
No, well, it's because, as you said earlier, you actually put topics out there where people talk for some period of time. So people enjoy listening to that and watching that, as opposed to, as you say, the 2-second soundbite, 5-second soundbite. So,
well, I'll tell you, one of the things I found too, and I'm not sure how I think this is partially accurate, is that if people want to find out something about somebody and they've been on the show and they Google them, and then they see that they can actually see a video of them, we're a very video-oriented society.
Yeah.
So, as a matter of fact, Jim Nally, who we both know, was telling me that he was doing an election case that was very similar to one he talked about a year ago. And that's why after a year, he's getting all these watches on that particular show.
Yeah.
Because the law firm's actually studying what he did in that particular case.
Yeah, and then they'll probably use it against him in the next case.
Probably.
Yeah.
He's good, though.
Jim's fantastic.
He'll get the job done.
Yeah, Jim's represented me a couple times on some of the election law issues because he's so good at what he does.
Nice, he really is. I mean, it's amazing to me. He's got such a broad range of clientele, and most of the time they're really, really good people too.
Oh God, yeah. I know every once in a while you get a clunker here and there, but that's
Yeah, I won't mention one of the clunkers that I know of, but for instance, he just handled Anita Alvarez, who I was very pleased to see win. And,
yeah, she did a great job. Really did.
Yeah, I think she'll be. You know what? She really has a genuine desire to do well.
She's going to be fantastic. She's going to be very, very good. I mean, she knows the office up, down, sideways because she's been there for all these years, and her heart's there. So I mean, I think she's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. Also, she's not really encumbered by as many ties as a lot of people are in her position.
Yeah. I mean, I think in that office you're somewhat immune to a lot of that because I mean you're running a prosecutorial office and you have cases that are presented to you more or less. So I mean, you're somewhat immune to that. But she definitely came from the outsider mode.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I want to wish Dick Devine well, who I tried to have on, as a matter of fact, before he officially resigned. He lives about 3 blocks away.
Hey, well, and why did he not show up?
Actually, the last time, and I hate to admit this, I goofed. We set up a special early morning thing, and anybody that knows me knows I'm really not much of an early morning person.
No.
So, to make a long story short, he actually showed up. And he was ringing the bell, and I didn't wake up. and I've apologized plenty, and I know I'm going to run into him in the neighborhood, but I'm really sorry, Mr. State's Attorney, and we still want you on in private practice.
Absolutely. For those of you at home, there is a bedroom attached to the studio here, so that's why the sleeping and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, this is where I live. So this is actually the dining room, and we just took the thing off the table and fake background of the whole shot.
That's a fake background?
Well, yeah, that's the real color. By the way, behind there's actually a whole bunch of books, the family pictures, a mirror. So,
oh God, that's great. That's
anyway,
great.
yeah,
but Dick did a great job, and it was funny because we always would joke about it because he's from up here on the north side, and we went to a couple different events where I'm from the south side and the Cubs Sox thing, and Dick was always being talked of by the Southsiders. Oh, you're a Cubs fan. Dick was like, no, I've actually liked the White Sox my entire life, and so he was a little bit different for the North Side.
And he's a season ticket holder too, in part.
Oh, absolutely.
Not a partial. In fact, I'm originally a Southsider. My brother's also a partial season ticket holder.
Oh, yeah. So am I.
Okay. Well, one thing I did learn, I didn't know this, but this was taught to me by getting to know an Irish politician or two. But I never knew Comiskey was Irish.
Yeah,
and that has been explained to me as a reason for what. I mean, I've heard some very nasty things said about some Irish Northside Cub fans.
I bet you have. I bet you have. But I was not one of those saying that.
Yeah.
No, because I am very fair.
No, well, that's good. No, that's definitely good. And actually, I was a rebel because I hate to say it, that even though I did go to games in 1959 when I was 7. I mean, I
thought you were going to say 1919.
No, that old I'm not.
No.
Close, but no. Somewhere down in the basement, I actually have a red felt pennant, from the 1915. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic. You went to the games here?
I went to the. No. I lived in South Shore. I grew up in South Shore. So
that's where I was born.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
77th in Essex.
79th in Merrill.
Okay, that's not far at all.
No.
Whatchamacallit, there was, usually for school, we'd go out there a couple times during the year. There'd be some outings. I remember seeing guys like Early Wynn and Louis Aparicio and Nellie Fox.
I know. They were fantastic.
I'm older than you, but yeah, that was great.
Yeah, just a couple years.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I'm finding interesting, number one, of course, you came out with, I thought was one of the most interesting things on a county basis that anybody's come out with in a long time. When you were saying it's like, hey, no evictions. And you were doing it at a time when the economy was, well, I don't think the economy's righted itself yet.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, we had a lot of instances where we were coming out to do evictions on homes where the residents at the home had not been notified in any form or fashion about the case, about the eviction. When we came to their door, they had no idea, frankly, why we were there. And it was legitimate shock that we were there, and we were seeing this over and over and over again. It wasn't an isolated situation where it happened once or twice. It was happening in the vast majority of the cases, and so it was after some deliberation, we came to the conclusion the only way to ensure that these people were not going to be
Now, these are condo dwellers, apartments?
It was everything. It ran the gamut. A lot of condo owners, a lot of renters of homes, but also there were some people who were the homeowners themselves, and the process had gotten so messed up. And and I don't claim to be an economic expert, unlike yourself. But
you ought to see where my stocks are right now.
I think
just call the tiny
they're
ball
the
man.
kitchen, yeah. But it seems as if so much of the problems that we have were caused by a lot of the loans that were given out over the course of the years, where they were either subprime loans or they were loans that were given out where there was active and aggressive actions to get people into adjustable rate mortgages and things like that. But at the end of the day, it was reckless type of loans going out, and we were seeing the back end of that where we were asked to recklessly put people out, and we were seeing it. I mean, there was just case after case after case where the people in the house had no idea what was going on. We were sent out by one bank to do an eviction at a location, and there was no house there. The bank insisted there was a house there. There was no house there. It was a vacant lot. The house had burned down 3 years before, and the bank didn't know that. So because of it, and what a mess it was, we just said enough, and we were not going to go ahead with evictions. We called them all off. We have since worked out an arrangement with the courts to do some evictions, but it was always with the caveat that if when we see it's still not working, we're going to call those off. In the last month, since we had this agreement with the court, we've had 110 evictions to do for foreclosures on houses, and we've called off 107 of the 110.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a mess. So it's an ongoing problem, an ongoing issue that we don't really see an end in sight yet, and we don't expect it really soon. But it's bad. It's really bad, Avi.
Yeah, I know myself that just walking, and I see here, houses that have been occupied the whole time. All of a sudden, there's disconnect notices, be it water or gas or electric, and I'm seeing more and more of that.
Yeah. Well, so you don't have to worry. I'm not coming to evict you. There's no eviction going to go on here.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, it would seem that in many cases the owners aren't even notifying their tenants what's going on.
Well, in some situations, Avi, it was so bad that we were going to a house where the people living there would have a lease, a legal lease signed by all the parties to live there for a period of time. And the date the lease was signed, it was a date after the house had already been foreclosed on, sometimes for a year. And so this homeowner had the house foreclosed on, but knowing the way the system plays out, just kept renting the house out to people, never telling the people living there that the house is subject to foreclosure.
Wow.
And we're at the door with families. I mean, literally families are there. And there was one house particularly disturbing where husband, wife, 16-year-old, 5-year-old, and two 9-month-old twins. And under the old rules, we would have been taking them and all their possessions and putting them out on the street. So we obviously called that one off, but it's versions of those stories where we've been calling off eviction after eviction because there's fraud involved, sure there is, but then there's just this recklessness on a lot of the banking industry that they don't know who's in their own houses. And that's all we ask for is in these changes that the courts came up with is that we require the banks to give us affidavits saying that we've been to the location, we know who's in it, we've notified them, they're aware of the court proceedings, and they're involved with it. And I think that is very reasonable.
No, it's more than reasonable, and I'm kind of surprised the bank isn't taking the pains to. But then again, you've got these mega banks all over the place.
Well, I've been. We were down in or over in Washington just this past week testifying in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee about this issue. Senator Durbin has a really helpful bill that I wish they could pass now. He's been trying to get it passed for over a year now. It would really go a long way to solving a lot of the problem. It deals with the Bankruptcy Act and the like, but when we were testifying, we also heard story after story about, and we knew some of this, but maybe not to the same extent, about how much it is that the notion that you have that of the old days where you would go for a loan to your local banker, he or she knows you, you know them, and they know the it's all close. Right now, the loans are sold so many times. It's not even as if just the loan is sold to a different bank. Different banks and different institutions buy part of the loan.
Wow.
So it is so spread out that you can't even figure out who owns the loans anymore. And so when you get to the point where you need to go negotiate, say you got somehow convinced that an adjustable rate was the greatest thing, you've now figured out that there's no way you can make it, but you want to stay in your house, you want to negotiate with them, you don't even know who it is you're supposed to negotiate with at times. So the system's very, very convoluted right now. Requires some immediate action, but unfortunately for Senator Durbin's bill, President Bush was against this, and so he knew only too well that with him opposed to it, there was nothing he can do in the remaining few weeks and months of his administration. So he's hopeful. Barack has shown to be a co-sponsor of this bill. He's hopeful that they can move this on a fast track because it's really desperate out there. I mean, there's real people who are hurting really bad, and the amount of attention we got over this issue completely shocked us, and I really think a lot of it had to do with the fact that people who had never thought that they would be in the crosshairs of a foreclosure are now seeing that as a real possibility, and they're very anxious. And they want to make sure that if that were to occur to them, that all their rights are there and that they're being treated properly. And right now, they're not. Yeah,
you definitely I was shocked at the amount of... Well, it was the right topic at the right time. I think some people didn't understand initially from the headlines exactly what it was that was involved.
Well, there's an element of it where it gets a little bit complicated because there's basically two different types of evictions. There's the one that we're talking about where you're foreclosing on a house and you're evicting the people pursuant to a foreclosure action where the bank is foreclosing them. The other one is through forcible detainer court where it's the traditional landlord-tenant relationship. Someone has a 6 flat, they're renting out one of the apartments to somebody and they don't make the rent. They go to court to get them removed so they can start renting it out again. Those ones, the latter, we've never had any real issues, and we continue to do those because it was abundantly clear that all the parties knew what was going on and they were aware of it. The other ones, though, it was just a complete mess.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you did one across the street about a year ago.
Oh, yeah, so. I think we were actually trying to come get your house, and we went to the wrong one by accident.
Well, that's good. Just put them off till after the show, and then we'll deal with it from there.
Got it. Got it.
So let me ask you, too, now that, the economic trouble has other aspects to it, too. Are you seeing a rise in crime? I mean, after all, you guys are the police force for suburban Cook County.
That's a really good question because a lot of people have asked us with these spikes in homicides and some of the other issues that have been floating around out there, where does that and how does that impact the jail? Our population has been relatively stable, which is, for us, it's very unusual. We usually are up and down and all over like a roller coaster ride with the population. It's been relatively stable the last year. We're averaging about 10,000 people a day at the jail, and it hasn't moved a lot. So we haven't seen a great deal of an influx there as far as new cases. I don't know if that's yet to come or how that's going to play out, but we haven't seen that yet. And once again, I know what you're talking about. A lot of people see the correlations between a spiraling downward economy and an upsurge in crime. We haven't necessarily seen that in hard numbers yet.
Well, that I'm glad to hear. I did have, when I was interviewing judges, one judge, Billy O'Brien, was telling me that he's starting to see more of it in his courtroom. He's doing felony work out in Skokie.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, there might be some, but it's not as if we've seen this tidal wave that is overwhelming us. It's been relatively stable.
That I'm actually glad to hear.
Yeah, there's a little click up, but not much.
So, I mean, so what are you doing? I mean, the budget can't be helping you any. You had enough trouble last year with what was going on.
Yeah, we were just informed the other day that there may be a new twist in the budget or a new problem, but I'm not on the county board, have no desire to be on the county board, so I don't know exactly.
Good move.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't have any hair left if that was the case. I don't know how much of it is legitimate concerns about bonding issues and budget issues and how much of it is one side or another trying to make an issue for some purpose. I don't know because I'm not privy to the budgets and the books of the other elected officials in the county government. I'm not privy to it on the county side as far as the hospital and the rest of it. It's not my business. I'm not supposed to know about that, and so they don't tell me about that. And when I ask about it, I'm not given the answers. But the reality is I don't know what's actually going on within their budgets.
Yeah.
But we feel comfortable that this coming year we're going to reduce our head count, which is not the norm. We've held.
You mean in the jail or employee-wise?
Employee-wise. We're actually going to make job cuts on our own,
yeah.
And we're going to make some other reductions, but we're not asking for more. Our problem we always get hit with is our salaries go up automatically because of contracts that are negotiated by the county board. They negotiate the contracts as far as the money. We negotiate just the work rules. And so they negotiate increases, and then it looks as if my budget's going up when none of it's because of anything I've asked for. I've kept everything flat. I actually held back all of our cost of living increases that were given by the county board. I held all ours back. As a matter of fact, Brian is threatening to unionize on me because I held back his and some of the other people who work with us at the office. Because, as I say, we're very sensitive in our office to the fact the economy's bad, people are hurting, so we're making do with less. But when some of these contracts are negotiated, they build in increases, and that makes it look as if your budget's going up when it's not something within your own control.
I mean, do you see any problems? I mean, are you able to cover for all the different people that are going in different departments, or?
Yeah, we have a problem. I mean, I could tell you we need more bodies? Yeah, we do, and we're trying to make do with what we have, and also I'm trying to reshuffle the deck a little bit where I'm turning civilian positions into more sworn positions so I can have more officers to watch detainees and stuff. But, I mean, basic services we're absolutely fine with, and we've just tried to do things in a much smarter way, and I think we're seeing that every day with some of the stuff we're getting done.
No, it sounds good. You have any innovations or things you're looking forward to do over the next year or two? Or?
I'm asking people not to commit crimes.
Well, that would help with the budget a lot.
I think that would go a long way to emptying our jail. That would help a great deal. That'd be innovative. We're trying, to do more with technology, and we've had some degree of luck there. But and I'm not blaming the county board. It's just a slow process to go through the bidding and the RFPs and all the rest of it. So there's some things we have queued up.
What's an RFP?
Request for proposal. You thought you were going to get me, didn't you?
No, but you got me. I don't know what that is. And I figure if I don't know, I better ask for the people.
No, all the jargon we always talk about all the time. The acronyms, they're funny. But the amount of time it takes from the idea stage of a new innovation to actually executing it takes longer. Some of it's very well deserved because you want to make sure all the different companies that could help or could want to bid on that have the opportunity to bid, and it's all done appropriately. But there's certain things we need to have done quickly, and that makes it a little bit tricky.
Okay. Now, so basically, how many people are employed total right now?
About 7,000 people are employed by our office.
And how many police? Just as a
about 500, almost 600 of them are police officers, patrol suburban Cook County, work on gangs and narcotics and vice. We have about 1,500 deputies who are in charge of security at the courtrooms, do our evictions and that. And then we have about 3,500 correctional officers who are watching the detainees primarily, but they also serve a couple other functions as far as transporting detainees and the like. So all in all, about 7,000.
Do you do parole or anything, those officers, or that's like different level because you're more of a detaining jail?
Yeah, well, we do have an electronic monitoring program, but it's a very small program, and we operate that as well with a combination of correctional officers and deputies. That's a smaller universe there. We run the SWAP program where we, have detainees that we monitor while they're up picking up garbage and other ways to serve off, offenses. If you need someone to help on your front lawn, we can see if we can get a hold of somebody.
Okay. Actually, the front lawn needs a lot of work. I'll be getting a rototiller in the spring.
Oh, yeah. That and machete.
That's about, well, you know what? The grub from a couple lawns down hit them last year and now us this year. I've got no grass up front.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, there's nothing for any of the neighbors to smoke.
Oh, God, please. We're law enforcement here.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, we have, our SWAP program's fantastic, though. I mean, we utilize folks who have gotten a sentence that would otherwise have you just either sitting in the jail or some type of probation, and you're actually making them work. And we monitor them working on the streets, and we help along the highways and all the other places. So it's real effective, and that's been real helpful. And I'm trying to think, we're so diverse because our mandate is so great. We have
actually Mickey's hands are starting to run the wrong way, so we're going to have to save this for next time.
Oh no!
But I guess if you do want to meet somebody from the sheriff's office, you can always commit a crime in unincorporated Cook County.
Yeah, we'll be there.
And but in the meantime, I do want to thank very much my guest, Sheriff Tom Dart. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I thank you, Brian, Mr. Kapoor, Jane, and Joe Ellen, too.
Right. And, we didn't even talk about the 5th District race. And, of course, thanks to Sonny.
Yeah, Sonny, thank you.
And, hey, stay tuned. Next segment, I've got Rabbi Pinchas Eisenbach, and I've got to leave him a little bit of time.
Take care.
You too. Thank you.